What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. So for this horror trailer review, we are taking a look at a film called The Severed Son. Now I had not heard of this film up until probably a few days ago. Obviously got very intrigued, as you can imagine, just from this headline here, as I'm going to read off. The Severed Son trailer unleashes mysterious beast in folk horror movie arriving in May. So you've heard me say this time and time again, folk horror is easily and quickly becoming one of my favorite subgenres. It has probably over the last 6 to 9 months. I've been getting into a lot more of the folk horror subgenre. It's not quite there yet as far as overtaking my favorite subgenre, which is religious horror, exorcisms, exorcist, demon possession, things of that nature. Though that subgenre is still my absolute favorite one. But folk horror is easily my second, and if I keep getting more and more I feel are, in my opinion, for me, are good and great films, it might just surpass religious horror for me. So we have as you see here, we have a trailer for this film. It says it's going to be arriving in May. Now I did try to look up this film a bit. It was premiered last year at a film festival, so I know there are some reviews floating around out there for those who were able to attend that festival and see it. But beyond that, this film hasn't really been talked about since, up until this dropped late yesterday. So we're going to run through the article details, because again, I don't think many people are aware of this film, have heard of this film, especially if you're not into the subgenre of folk horror. So we're going to run through the article details, and then we are going to check out this trailer. I have not seen this trailer. I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, I saw the headline and I was already immediately ready to see what the details were going to be about, because again, as I mentioned, folk horror is becoming a quick favorite of mine. So let's take a look at these details here. So I imagine this is an image from the trailer already. Looking pretty interesting. Looks like it's gonna be have some gore in it, a little bit of bloody aspects to it. Seeing how she's literally covered almost her entire face and from head to toe in blood. So, all right, an isolated religious community is torn asunder by the arrival of a mysterious beast in the new trailer for The Severed Son, a folk horror movie arriving this May from Dark Sky Films. Writer-director Dean Puckett makes his feature debut with The Severed Son, releasing in theaters and digital on May 16, 2025. Yeah, I'm not going to stand on my soapbox on that one. You guys have heard me say time and time again. I'll briefly mention it. I don't understand that business model. I don't understand the putting it in theaters and going digital on the same day for something like this. And we talked about it during yesterday's live show. The AMC CEO coming out during CinemaCon, coming out to a panel of his peers and others, saying and pushing the trying to re-implement the 45-day rule for films, where they would be staying in theaters for a minimum of 45 days before pursuing digital or video on demand. Now, I did mention I do believe there needs to be a criteria for that. I don't think that should be a broad stroke across all films that are trying to have a theater presence. With that said, I do think in this case, I don't understand why you would want your film to be in theaters for at least 2 or 3 weeks, especially if you meet a criteria where you don't have to have it the full 45 days. If you met a criteria, you only had to do 2 or 3 week run, and then you make the choice to pull it down and put it on digital or video on demand. In this case, I don't understand that. I would think you'd want as many people to go to theaters as possible to see a film, and then put it on digital. That's just me. I think you kind of undercut yourself here a bit when you say, oh, we're gonna put it on digital as well, where you may not garner as much of a profit for your film. So just my opinion. All right, moving on. The Severed Son is set, quote, in the heart of an isolated religious community. The pastor delivers his fervent sermons to a devoted congregation, but dark secrets fester in the depths of the forest. The pastor's daughter, Magpie, takes desperate action, ending the life of her abusive husband. Little does she know his murder will unleash a malevolent force, a mysterious beast with shimmering white eyes. As weeks pass, suspicion and paranoia grip the community. with a custardy fingers pointed at Magpie. The pastor struggles to restore Magpie's dwindling faith, and he is unable to bring her back into the truth. Faith is fragile, and Magpie is hell-bent on rebelling against the hypocrisy of her father. When the beast leaves a trail of gruesome carnage, a brutal witch hunt ignites in this gripping tale of faith, fear, and the darkness within. Friendships crumble, loyalties are tested, and the community hurtles towards self-destruction. All right, so it looks like this is going to be a mix of religious horror and folk horror. So, and I say religious horror not from a possession standpoint, but more so from the fact that that's the background or the foundation for this. So, all right, we have the casting here that we normally have. We have some review information here. I'm not going to read this review because I don't want to be spoiled, not just for the trailer, but for the film itself. So I'm not going to read this review. I will put the link for this article in the description of this video. So if you want to read that review, you can feel free to do so. We have the trailer and we have a poster here. So I imagine what we just read from the description with this character wielding this axe, that this might be the one, this might be Magpie that's going to be potentially killing her husband. And then Severed Son. I do like this old school looking font. This font here reminds me, just the way it looks, the red that they're using, reminds me of the Omen, like the type of font I would see on the Omen poster. And I'm talking about the original Omen, like parts 1 and 2, the Omen, and then Damien, the Omen part 2. It reminds me very much of what that looks like. So it does look like this says official selection for Fantastic Fest. So that, and it says 2024, so it looks like that's when it was premiered. That's probably when people are basing their reviews on. So all right, so let's get back to the top of this article, and then we're gonna pull up this trailer and see what it is about.
What's troubling you?
My daughter. I haven't seen you at service recently.
I've not been well.
You have lost a husband and a father, but as family, we must set an example. For all have sinned. All have sinned. We are conceived, born into this fallen world. All have sinned. All have sinned. All have sinned. All have sinned. We were chosen. I know that work has been hard of late. But we must remember, we cannot always have bright, shining sun.
John.
John. There will be periods of darkness and light.
What is this?
It seems to have a taste of a foul man.
Tell me why I'm sick.
It was the beast! It ripped him apart!
You can't kill me, you fool! So it was real?
I don't know, but they believe it's real.
All right, so that was it was a quick trailer, about a minute and what, 37 seconds. So not that long of a trailer. Kind of hard to say what direction this is going to go, because we saw one line that I caught pretty quickly was when he looks like, I'm assuming it's the father, when the daughter was laying there and he's holding up that charcoal drawing of what this beast or monster looks, which she believes it looks like. And he's asking about it, and she says it's got a taste for foul men. So I'd imagine, I'm wondering then if she really did kill her husband, and if she did, if somehow this beast not possessed her, but somehow got her to do like his bidding, and then the monster somehow did something with the body, because we saw some other various aspects where other men were getting killed there in quick snapshots. But there was also like this at the beginning, before we even really saw the monster, like it was almost as if this black goo had like its own life form coming out of the ground. And then we saw in some like the night shots where we would see like night vision, so to speak, where they're rubbing this black stuff on themselves. And then we saw a couple other women doing killings as well. So I'm wondering if the monster is using the women and kind of either driving them crazy or driving them to do something to kill the men that the monster once killed. And then we saw just a very brief picture of the monster at the end in like this dark shadow with the white eyes, as the description portrays. Otherwise, this looks like a very secluded, and I say secluded from a filming perspective, where we're not going to be moving around a lot. We're going to be very much in very small number of locations, so to speak, right? It's like a very small village we're going to be staying within the boundaries of this wall or this small community. So it doesn't look like we're going to be venturing out too far. Obviously, it looks like some things take place in the woods, which I would imagine so. But otherwise, I think this type of stuff, especially not when you add in the religious aspect to it, and then you have these church members or community members start to go crazy because of whatever this pastor is pushing or preaching to them. I think that's where the eeriness can get to a whole nother level of extreme, especially when you get down to the folklore aspect. Because I can't see the main act, or one of the main actors, the father, surviving this. I think he just will happen to probably be the last one killed, and the daughter will somehow either take over the community or leave the community, and the community will kind of just disband. But otherwise, I'm interested in this one. The trailer doesn't give away enough for you to really figure out what's going on or what's happening to spoil it for you, but I think it gives me personally just enough to have me intrigued and want to see it. But again, I'm a fan of the subgenre of folk horror, so I'm all in for that. I know it's not a subgenre for everybody, so drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about The Severed Son. Is this a film that you that interests you, or are you even interested in folklore horror? Is that a subgenre you dabble in? If not, I would still be interested to know why you don't, if it's just not something that you're interested in. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Peace.